Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Self Connection with Ginny Brown and Kelly Pietro, where we have a conversation with a group of Ascended Masters known as the Multitude of the Greater Good.
Yes. Kelly, my good friend Kelly, asks all of these wonderful questions, and then my guides answer them through me. I channel the answers to Kelly's questions, and it's always lots of fun, and I never know what she's going to ask. So I have no idea what's coming up today, but I'm glad you're all here to witness this. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here, Ginny.
You too, Kelly.
So today, the first thing I want to talk about and ask about is, okay, so today is August 8th. 8/8 Lionsgate. This is what everyone talks about, right?
Oh,
And there's so many things like that. Dates. Uh, you know, I wish I could remember all of them, but it's like these repeating number dates and they somehow have significance. And um and I definitely remember being in a place of like, oh, quick, I gotta do something good, like set my intentions or whatever. And now I'm just like, well, I kind of feel like I could do that any day. And
right.
so, but I figure let's ask the question and see what the multitude has to say. Um, is it true that this 8/8 day offers something special, spiritually speaking?
It is important to understand, my dear, that every day offers something special, spiritually speaking. In our estimation, every day is a good day. Any day is a great day to set intentions. There is no special significance to any day. The only significance is what one places on it oneself. In our estimation, it is important that you understand that as you continue to go and as you continue to grow, you will no longer need to rely on 8/8 or any other day or date or any other phenomenon in order to move yourself forward. In our estimation, it is quite a beautiful response to being who one is, and who one is who one is on any day. Do not be concerned, all is love.
I had a feeling they were going to say something like that. Thank you. And thanks to the multitude for being here. I feel like we just jumped in and I didn't even acknowledge them, but
We are most pleased to be a part of this process, as it is not only a part of your it's like plan of being on the earth plane, it is part of our plan of being in order to help those on the earth plane. So thank you for allowing us to move forward in our accomplishment. Do not be concerned, all is love.
my pleasure. Really, I mean, my privilege. Really, I think I feel so lucky that I get to ask all these questions. I mean, I try to keep them not about me, but like, my curious mind, Ginny. I like this.
I'm sure
Okay,
I have the same kind of questions.
say that again.
I'm sure other people have the same kind of questions.
Yeah, I try to pay attention to what's going on in the collective and also kind of I can feel things like snag. That's the only word I have for it. Like snag on me, like and it's often things that like I mean I was once there. And so why is it snagging? Because the way it feels as a snag is judgment, unfortunately. I feel like I judge it. And then I like very minimally, but it's still there, like shame myself, like, don't be judging people. And then it's like, oh, why am I judging people? And oh, there's probably part of me that I haven't forgiven of my past for, um, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, that's usually what I come to. So it all comes back to self-love, right?
Right.
Usually the antidote for a lot of things. So
Yeah. And breathe and allow it to heal itself.
Yeah. All right, so on that same note, and I feel like we've touched on this a little bit in other episodes, but it's kind of, it goes with the same theme of like auspicious dates, right? The idea of energy forecasts, right? So there are people out there, and some of them feel like spot on, and they're interesting. There's one that I actually like will listen to, and I feel like it's very heart-centered and honors free will a lot, but there's a lot of energy forecasts out there where someone will kind of alert their followers to what is to come based on what they're reading in the collective energy now. And that's one thing, again, like I used to listen to these things all the time and perhaps get something out of them, and now I feel it snagging, and it feels to me like, oh, well, they're definitely growing through this experience of sharing, but they might be really just feeling their own energy, but projecting it to the collective. But I don't know, perhaps everyone's different. So I guess the question is, before I ask it, do you have anything you want to say about those things, Ginny?
No.
Okay. What is true about energy forecasts?
I want to know what you mean by an energy forecast.
So like be like a psychic person saying, okay, everyone, it's August and I'm going to tell you what to expect in the next 3 months. So we have a lot of turmoil coming up, and the election is causing a lot of divisiveness. And so what you're going to see is before that heals, first this is going to happen, and then that's going to happen. And so you might feel like this and like that. And so they like predict what's kind of coming energetically, maybe not events, but like energetically what's to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is important to understand, my dear, that each and every other one has the same opportunity of allowing themselves to connect with themselves. And when one is in a place of connection, such as that of which you speak, each one is able to connect with the energy of being within oneself, and also it's like outside themselves with the help of their guides. It is important to understand that much of that is true at the time, and much of that changes quite easily and quite quickly, as the energy changes quite easily and quite quickly. What is truth for today may not be true tomorrow. It is important to understand that each one knows what is right for each one. Each one, it's like, feels the energy of being of who one is, and whether or not the information is true or truth is unimportant. What is important is it's like I'm getting the word resonance. It is that part of oneself that identifies oneself in and within that type of energy. We would highly recommend that you not worry about what is true or truth. Things change quite quickly, quite often, and what may be true today is not necessarily true tomorrow or a week from today or a month from today, as things are open to change always. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling. Thanks for validating that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So this is a switching topics a little bit. Did I want to say anything else about that? I don't think so. Do you want to say anything else about that?
No.
I feel like we create our own future. Period. And while like collective events might have a play in that, we don't have to be victim to an energy forecast that says things are not looking good. And likewise, like the waiting for something to happen because somebody else said it was going to happen is like such a disempowering place to be, I think. because you're not moving yourself forward per se, you're just like waiting for like a prophecy to come true.
Yeah. Well, I can't really speak to that very well because when I listen to those kinds of predictions, I check with the multitude. It's like, is that truth? Is that right? I
Yeah.
get my own information. I ask the question. So sometimes I will go with whatever that person is saying, and mostly all the time I double check, and sometimes it's the same and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, and I think to piggyback on that, plus they're saying feel into what resonates and what doesn't. The feeling I'm getting right now is like you check with the multitude. My way of checking is actually like it does it for me through that snag, through that feeling of and all that is a non-resonance. It is not true. So for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to know that everyone might experience that level of receiving an answer if this is true or not differently.
But it is important for everyone to recognize the resonance or their feeling about what it is. Sometimes we'll just take things that we hear without the feeling part of it.
Yeah.
So whether they resonate with it or not, it's not a top of mind. So
Well, and you know what else is interesting? Because I think back to when like these forecasts would resonate and something they would say would resonate. And by that, like when I can look back on that and say, oh, the part that was resonating with the message was actually an old part of me that is no longer needed. So like during COVID, there was a lot about like scarcity, like, you know, in 3 months, it's going to be really hard to access food and oh my gosh, I might resonate with that and then like want to go to the grocery store and stock up. But then it turns out like that wasn't reality. And so when I look back, what I can notice is like, oh, I was given the opportunity to feel that scarcity so that I could overcome it. And so it still was part of my path to listen to those predictions and have the experience of those energy forecasts through the feeling state of feeling that stuff. And because part of my path is I've come here to heal, that was just how it happened.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not necessarily for you to overcome it. It's for you to feel it and then heal it, allow it to heal itself. Because overcoming is to me is like you really ignore the feeling of it. You feel the fear, but you don't feel the feeling of, you know, I'm scared. I'm not going to be able to cope with this or whatever the feeling is. It's just that you connect with the fear of the collective rather than looking inside yourself and see what's really right for you.
Yeah,
And then allowing that to come up and heal that.
yeah, good point. Feel the feelings to heal the feelings, as they say. I mean, not for everyone. That's not always like a one size fits all because sometimes like if that's not part of your path and that's not like always maybe good advice. I don't know. I'm like sensitive to mental health right now, so uh yeah. Anyway, I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush, I guess, I'll say. Okay, so different topic, if that's okay with you.
Fine.
Okay, so I was again watching other people in like the self-help energy realm of like I guess influencers because they're on social media and you know you hear people like kind of teaching about certain topics and concepts as it pertains to energy. And so this was one that I heard and I'd love the multitude to speak on it. So the message was like, you know, and I've read this in other books too, in like yoga books, like worrying is one way that violence gets masked as caring. Like I've heard that in a book. And it resonated. It took to the point where I was like, oh, I shouldn't worry about someone because I don't want to have those thoughts towards them. And so this one particular person who was talking.
Before you go further, worrying is what?
So this one book, it's talking about the yamas and the niyamas, these yoga principles. And it was like the whole chapter was about nonviolence. And it was like, let's dissect the idea of violence and let's talk about different ways that you can experience violence. And it's not just like, you know, the way we would think, but like, what are other ways that can be categorized as violence? And so it's like worrying is one way that caring, that violence gets masked as caring. And this other person that I heard this week was talking about like when you worry about someone, you're actually like siphoning energy from them. And you know, that concept that another person can siphon energy away from someone or cause harm to someone simply by worrying about them. What is true about that?
In our estimation, my dear, nothing is true about that. It is important to understand worrying is the misconception of the worrier, in that allowing the other person to be in charge of themselves. Each one is in charge of each one's own self. And if one is caring and allowing oneself to be a part of the other's energetic existence, it is important to understand that it is the other who is in charge of their energetic existence, and they can accept or reject the worry energy. 99% of the time, the energy is rejected, as there is no redeeming quality of worry energy. It is important to understand that as each one moves forward, and then within that part of self, of caring of self, one will also allow oneself in the caring of another. And in so doing, eliminate the worry, fear, and allow oneself to care deeply within one's heart self for another. It is not a matter of worrying to help or destroy another person. It is a matter of worrying and allowing oneself to be in a state of disallowance. When one is able to say, okay, I'm really concerned about this other person. However, in our estimation, that is quite acceptable. The other person, however, is in charge. And when one worries about, oh, how's that one going to be? And how's that going to affect him? And what's going to happen if he moves forward in this direction? It has no real effect, as the person doing the worrying is is disallowing of the other to be able to be in charge of oneself. In our estimation, worrying is not a problem on either end, as worrying is I'm getting a non-entity, not important, unable to be useful in any way. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah, I would argue that the detriment is to the worrier. Like, I know for me, when I get stuck in worrying, I get headaches, you know, it's like the only person it really affects is me. So, okay, so I figured they were gonna say something like that.
The one thing that I heard about worrying, which kind of comes back to me every now and then, is worrying is like a rocking chair. You can sit in a rocking chair and rock and rock and rock, but you go nowhere. And worry is like rocking in a rocking chair.
And it said, and then I've heard too, like it takes away like tomorrow's peace, or I don't know. There's a little saying about worrying taking away like your peace now, and you're robbing your peace of the future or something like, yeah. I like the rocking chair one though. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, you rock and rock and rock, and when you rock, you go nowhere. You're just rocking. And that's worry. You can worry and worry and worry, and it goes nowhere, just like a rocking chair.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I like that one. I'm gonna use that one, Ginny.
Good. Good.
Okay, so similarly, um, you'll hear this a lot too, like when someone thinks ill of another, bad thoughts about another, or wishing ill will on another, um, does that have an energetic effect on the person that the ill will is pointed towards?
In our estimation, right?
Even when they don't know, and I'm talking about when they don't know it's even happening.
In our estimation, my dear, when someone is thinking ill of another, it does not affect the other at all. It is nowhere near their energetic acceptance of being, as it is the worrier or the ill will person doing the negative thinking that is it's like it's creating that type of an issue for themselves, not for the other. The other can go on and do whatever it is and be totally unaffected. However, the person doing the negative thinking is the one that is having the issue and may have trouble moving forward in one's life on the earth plane, as they are totally consumed in worrying or having an ill feeling about another and not being able to move themselves forward in the way they need to, based on so much energy being spent on another.
Yeah, so like the idea of like a curse, or I have to protect myself from that person because, I mean, I definitely have friends who claim like, and they're very psychic and gifted, and this one has a curse on me, and this one's trying to, and maybe that's part of their path as like a unique path of something to experience, but it sounds like for the most part, um, perhaps it's the person, like if someone knows about that, like somebody put a curse on me, it would be the person who's supposedly cursed would be allowing that.
Right. In our estimation, my dear, curses are only a figment of someone's imagination. They are unable to be, it's like foisted upon another, as it is the person who is doing the cursing that is having the issue.
So what would they say to someone who truly believes that they're being cursed?
It is important to understand that if they truly believe that they are being cursed, then they are the ones who are in charge of themselves. And if it is that they believe there is a problem, there is a problem. In our estimation, however, there is no problem. It is based on one's belief system in that arena of being. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, good, thank you. I wasn't planning on going all that deep with it, but felt like it was good to clarify that. So we have a couple, it's still like on this, it's a little bit darker, these topics, but I think it's good to talk about these topics so that people can feel empowered in these situations that they ask about. And so we have a couple questions from our viewers. So we'll take a couple of those if that's okay, Jen.
Sure.
Do you have anything else though on that topic that?
I'm not getting anything more now.
Okay.
Personally, I do not.
So one of the questions is, well, this is a multi-layered question. I'm gonna ask all of them because they kind of, and then let's see if the multitude tells me to only ask one. They might, but they're all kind of the topic. The topic is about Lucifer as a fallen angel. Are you comfortable channeling message about that? Yeah. Well,
Why not? Why wouldn't I be?
yeah, and I thought you'd be fine. Lucifer, so this is what the viewer wrote in. Lucifer is a fallen angel, which is arguable, I think. Are there any other fallen angels? If yes, please provide details. Do angels have siblings? If yes, are any twins?
Ah, in our estimation, my dear, it's like Lucifer is, and I'm double checking. It's like Lucifer is a figment of someone's imagination. It was created in order to distinguish between good and evil. There is no energetic component to a Lucifer in our estimation. Each one on the earth plane, each one in the spiritual plane, each one comes to the earth plane in order to allow themselves to create an experience. And it does not matter as how it is created. In one respect, it is about learning and understanding. In our estimation, there is only each and every other one. There is no good, no evil. It is all about learning and being. And one cannot be on the earth plane without the balance and counterbalance. Do not be concerned, all is love.
I can hear all the Christians going, there's a quote like, Lucifer's greatest accomplishment would be to get you to think that he doesn't exist. There's like a quote out there. I can hear all the Christians saying that, not all of them, but like, that's like a thing that floats around Christianity.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Which to me, I feel like is a control tactic,
Oh, yeah, that could be.
because how else can they sway you in one way or another without holding that fear over your head? And to me, I've witnessed it and it's been extremely harmful to people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just, watching certain friends who are in, like evangelical churches, like the shame, the guilt, and if I'm not good, I'm going to hell and Lucifer's got me. And, it's like, oh, it's so disempowering and it makes me want to just like hold them. It makes me really sad.
In our estimation, my dear, it is important to understand that each one comes to the earth plane to learn what it is they need to know. And if it is they choose to learn in such a way, it is quite appropriate. However, in our estimation, it is a matter of understanding. It is a figment of an imagination in order to allow one to control another. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yes, I got that one right. They're always good about setting me straight, like, because what I was saying, like, oh, it just makes me want to hug them. And like, there's some judgment of me, like, or savior type of like, oh, you poor thing, you don't know better. But like, no, they do know. Their soul came here and they decided they were going to experience these things. So who are you to say it's good or bad? Thank you, multitude, for keeping it real with me.
That is so.
Is there anything else they want to say on that topic before I go on to the next?
It is important to understand that there are many ways to look at good and evil, devil, Lucifer, angels, all of the above. It is important to understand that whether or not one describes the energy in one way or another, it is all energy, and all energy is an experience of being. Do not be concerned, all is love. Okay.
That resonates. I gotta say this, Ginny, so,
Okay.
and to the multitude, like, I have this like, interesting relationship with the messages they channel. I simultaneously love them and then like, oh, like there's part of me that wants like this magical understanding of life. And in a way that like we often like describe it with this like mysticism. Like I love that. I think it's beautiful. But also like a lot of times then when they set the record straight, it kind of kills that a little bit. Not the Lucifer thing. I'm good not believing in Lucifer. That's totally fine. But like, you know,
The mysticism of it all.
yeah, especially like, having this connection with plants and like plant spirits and, I love all that, but then to know that no, someone just has to step into the allowing and the plant might help them to do that, but it may not be the plant itself. And I don't know, it did take some of like the magic away, I think.
I don't know, what came to mind when you were saying that about plants. Plants come to help others. So as well as we come to help others. So if a plant helps a person open up to who they are, then that's the plant's job. It's like, I don't know. I don't have a real issue with mysticism per se. So other than having grown up in the Catholic Church, when you have the mysticism there, I found it very easy to transfer from that spirituality to spirituality without a hook.
Yeah, yeah. Or I could go in two different directions based on everything it's saying. And okay, I guess I'm not going in that direction. That's gonna be another episode on plant spirits. We'll talk about that in a future one. In fact, let me write it down so I don't forget. Okay. Okay. So the next one is from another listener, viewer, that okay, there's a lot of questions here. And I think we covered some of it in the past. I'm just going to start with the first one. What is the purpose of individuals experiencing or dealing with mental health issues? And I just want to clarify, this is like, well, I don't need to clarify. They'll clarify. Did you get the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like, it is important to understand, my dear, that each one comes to learn on the earth plane. They come to learn many things. There are those on the earth plane who come to experience in one way, and those who come to experience in another. If one is interested in allowing oneself to move forward in a way of understanding who one is differently, then one may choose to have a mental issue in order to allow oneself to clarify certain things. In our estimation, one chooses when one comes to the earth plane on how it is one wishes to learn, how it is one wishes to understand, how it is one wishes to allow oneself to be. In our estimation, there are many contributing factors to how one learns on the earth plane. However, it is important to understand the primary completion of accomplishment is accentuated before coming to the earth plane. Do not be concerned, all is love.
So the answer to that question, what is the purpose of the individual experience or dealing with mental health issues? It's like part of it was chosen in spirit before they incarnated,
Absolutely.
which is not.
Here, many things are chosen in spirit before coming to the earth plane. Some are elaborated on the earth plane, which contributes to a greater understanding of who one is. In our estimation, there are those who create problems on their own. There are those who heal problems on their own. There are those who allow others to help them move forward. And there are those who never move forward. Do not be concerned. It is experiencing a lifetime different than one has ever experienced before, with a great deal learning having been accomplished, not only on the earth plane, but in the spiritual plane. Do not be concerned, all is love.
And just a reminder, like, none of this is medical advice,
Right,
just for,
that's for sure.
yeah. I know, I didn't even know if you would want to answer that one, Ginny, but
Well, I'm not answering, Kelly.
I know. I didn't know if you'd want to channel that one, but yeah. I feel like it, not to like further stigmatize it, but like it's more about making sure that, that we're not doing any sort of spiritual bypassing on what is truly like a condition of human suffering that needs proper and qualified attention. That like this YouTube channeling is not, doesn't qualify as proper mental health support.
It's like, as they say, for entertainment only.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the continuation, I don't know if it's a continuation of that question. It's the same person who submitted, or if it's a second question. I think it's a second question. Yeah. Why is there an aspect of ourselves individually and collectively that is destructive?
It is important to understand that each one comes to the earth plane to complete a process. Sometimes processes can be completed on the up and up, and sometimes they cannot. In our estimation, when one moves forward in a kind and gentle way, one is learning a great deal. When one moves forward in a destructive way, one is releasing a part of oneself, releasing, educating, moving forward from a place of, it's like of something that needs to be healed within. In our estimation, sometimes it is an allowance of being, and sometimes it's an allowance of creation, and sometimes it is just plain learning experience. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah, and I feel like her next question is, I feel like they've answered this in past episodes and just now again, like when you ask what's the purpose of any of it, it's just to experience. Like,
And to learn.
yeah, to experience, to learn, to grow, to heal. It's going to be one of those things.
Yeah.
So, talking about,
Yeah. There's a great deal more to be understood. However, the human mind is unable to complete and understand that of a spiritual nature. There is much completed on the spiritual as well as on the physical. Do not be concerned. There is most that is incomprehensible in some of the questions that you are asking.
okay, yeah. So I'm not going to read her next question because I feel like they've kind of already covered it. But this is a good question about like those who do choose to incarnate and come and they end up doing evil, what we would deem evil or destructive. The question is, do such choices diminish one's spiritual advancement?
It is important to understand that sometimes those those are experiences are quite creative. They allow oneself to expand oneself differently, and they allow oneself to expand another differently. If in our estimation, one is able to move forward in a destructive or like you said, evil, I believe, an evil way. It is about allowing oneself to not only bring forward who one is, but allow oneself to bring to one's attention that which may require attention. In our estimation, it is important to understand that each one knows why each one has come, and each one is allowing oneself to move forward in the direction of love and care of self. And sometimes one is incapable of love and care of self. And sometimes one is able to move forward to help oneself and another. In our estimation, sometimes it is pretty well planned. Sometimes it is very well planned, and sometimes it is not planned at all. However, it is always an accomplishment. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah. And again, like, that's not to encourage destructive or evil. It's to try to form deeper understanding so that we can find peace around when that type of behavior is out of our control.
Right.
And we witness it in the world. Okay. And look at our time, Ginny, but I feel like we're okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep going. She had a few questions here. Do people really choose not to be a part of spirit even after they die?
It is important to understand each one is a part of the all. Each one is part of source energy, and one has no choice in the matter. When source energy had decided to expand, it had decided to expand in many ways, and it had allowed oneself to be. However, there is no choice in one's wishing to be a part of spirit or not. It just is.
Gosh, to hear them say that, they're so good about honoring free will. You never hear a response like that there's no choice, but this is like the only time I've ever heard them say, like, there's no choice, it just is. Uh, wow, I don't know, I can feel a lot with that. It's what I believe too, but hearing that, it was like, whew.
How would you not be, how would you have a choice? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how you would have a choice. If you're part of, if, I don't know. I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, that's because you have this foundation of understanding of, like, it's so true to you that this is the way it is,
Yeah.
that of course it doesn't make sense to you. But for someone who, and I think my guess of, she's probably asking that in response to something she's heard of, like, someone say, like, say something like, oh, when I die, that's it, there's nothing left of me, that's it, I'm done.
Right. Right.
And so, like, the idea of choosing to go back to source and to be alive in spirit, like, there's plenty of people out there who think that's it, when my life is over, that's it. And I think what she's saying is, like, is it a choice? And they're saying no. You don't have to believe in it, but it is what it is.
Right.
And to me, to, like, what I'm feeling right now is like, um is more like the potential reaction from our viewers. That's my own stuff. Anyway, okay. Okay, so yeah, you can tell, like, the conversations that may have, like, provoked these questions, because her next question is, are there individuals without spirit, or why are there such persons that seemingly have no connection to spirit and live without knowing, as I understand it, or as she understands it? I think they kind of already answered it. It's like, well, it's whatever they came here. They know what they came here with. They know what they came here to experience. They planned it. And so part of that experience might be to not have a spiritual connection.
It's not have a spiritual connection. It's not being aware of the
That's,
spiritual connection.
thank you.
There is always a spiritual connection.
Very important clarification. Thank you. Okay. I I don't think we need to go there unless they want to say anything.
I'm not getting anything.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it's the same thing we kind of already covered her last question. Why are there seemingly people who despise spirit? It's like that's just who they came here to be and experience. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I think this is going to be the last question
Okay.
that I thought of as you were channeling something else. And it's kind of a buzzword. You hear it a lot now. People saying like, we're in a simulation, right? And you even have like Elon Musk trying to, I don't know if he's trying to prove it, but he'll say like, well, based on all of the data, like it's highly likely that we are part of a simulation. And so people use this word that like this life is just a simulation. So what is true about the idea that an incarnated life is a simulation?
In our estimation, my dear, there is not very much true about that at all.
That's all that they have to say. That's beautiful.
That's it.
Straight to the point.
Well, that they are, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's just people comparing it to a simulation because there's this concept of having the higher self that may have an awareness of what, like it's often compared to like playing a video game. Like I'm playing the video game, right? That's maybe my higher self, the player. And I chose my avatar. I chose the hair, the outfit, whether I'm male or female, whatever. And I chose like my basic package of weapons. And then I, the higher self, is going and playing the game. And so like this concept of like a simulation, like I think that's where people get that idea because it's like a tangible way to try to understand this thing called life that we're doing. Um, that's my guess. It's not really a simulation. It is real. Life is real.
Yeah.
Is there anything else they want to say on that?
It is important to understand that each one has the opportunity to believe for oneself what is real. However, in our estimation, a simulation is not possible, as each one is connected to oneself on the earth plane, to oneself in spirit. Therefore, each one moves forward in connection with oneself, able to move forward in any way one chooses. It's like there is no controller or controllee. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Yeah, it almost signals a disconnection from yourself in spirit and yourself in the physical, when in fact we are part and parcel, one and the same.
Yeah.
They say that all the time.
Mm.
It almost does us a disservice to think of it that way.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have anything more to add to that, and apparently neither do they, because nothing's coming through.
Okay. Yeah, I think the other topics I think can be other episodes. I feel like we covered a lot of randomness tonight.
Yes, true.
But, that's how it goes when you take other people's questions, which I think is fun. So to our viewers, if you have questions that you would like answers to, it's really helpful to just have one precise question instead of like a rambling of 5 questions, because it's just easier, I think, to kind of record it that way. So if you go on my website, www.themindfulherbalist.com, on the top menu bar, you'll see a link to the self connection. And if you scroll down, there'll be a form that you can submit your questions to, and we'll ask it in a future episode. So long as they're not personal questions, we try to keep this kind of more curiosity about kind of things in general. if you do have personal questions, you can set up a one-on-one session with Ginny, and you can go to her website, www.heartandhealing.com, Ginny? No,
GinnyBrown.net.
GinnyBrown.net. Sorry.
That's it.
GinnyBrown.net, and her contact info is there. You can reach out to her to schedule a one-on-one, and you can ask your personal questions, and she'll channel answers for you. And I've done that so many times. It's so helpful. I think they're really great about honoring free will, but helping to bring a level of clarity that lets you really sit and ponder what your truth is, so that you can move forward in a way that's in alignment with your truth and who you are and who you came here to be.
Right. Also, I just want to mention that beginning in September, I'll be doing a discussion with the Masters series at Sticks and Stones Farm in Newtown, Connecticut. If anyone is local or interested, you can go to Sticks and Stones. What is it? Lovehasahome.org.
Sticksandstones.com.
Sticksandstones.com and check it out.
I'm just double checking. That is the actual website. Let's see, never know. Yeah, it's sticksandstonesfarm.com.
Oh, Sticks and Stones. Oh, yeah.
Farm.com. Good thing I did check that one. Yeah, so if you click on the link to their events, you'll see Ginny's event. You can register through their page that way. And the dates are September 8th, September 22nd, and is it October 6th, right?
Yes, and then 2 more with the multitude of the greater good after that.
Yeah, which is just asking your questions of the multitude
Right.
in a group setting. So
Absolutely.
awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Any final words, Ginny, or we're good? We're good to end it there?
It is important to understand that it is up to each and every one as to how each one wishes to proceed. However, we would highly recommend that each one look deep into one's own heart self and allow the feelings to feel, and therefore allow the feelings to heal, allowing one to move forward in a higher and greater way. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Thank you.
That's it for today.
That's a nice closing message. Thank you to the multitude for showing up and helping us out. Appreciate it.
It's like you're quite welcome.
And
So
thank you for channeling, Jen.
you're welcome. Thank you, Kelly, for all your questions.
Yeah. And to our viewers for their questions.
Yeah. Yeah, we never know what's going to come, and I never know what the answers are going to be. Very interesting. So thank you everyone for watching, and hope you'll tune in again next time.
Bye.
Bye.